In 1994, a tiny skate shop opened in downtown Manhattan with just $12,000 in startup capital. Today, that same company is valued at over $2 billion, charges outrageous prices for plain white t-shirts, and has collaborated with luxury brands from Louis Vuitton to Ferrari. How did a small skateboard shop brand make the world believe a basic cotton t-shirt was worth hundreds of dollars? And what can other businesses learn from the way Supreme created hype out of thin air? That's what we're examining today on the Philosophy of Marketing, the extraordinary rise of a brand that rewrote the rules of retail. To understand Supreme's phenomenal success, we need to go back to where it all began. The year is 1994, Kurt Cobain has just passed, the internet is in its infancy. And in New York City, skateboarding is still a counterculture movement, not the mainstream sport it is today. James Jebbia, a British-American entrepreneur with experience at Stussy, opens a small skateboard shop on Lafayette Street in Manhattan. The store was designed differently from the start, spacious and minimalist, with products displayed sparingly along the walls, more like an art gallery than a retail shop. And this wasn't by accident. Supreme wasn't just selling clothes, it was staging an experience, and that experience set the stage for one of the most unlikely growth stories in fashion history. In 1994, Supreme opens their first shop in New York. In 2004, their first international store opens in Japan. In 2011, their online store launches. In 2017, Carlyle Group purchases a 50% stake in the company for $500 million. And in 2020, VF Corporation acquires Supreme for $2.1 billion. In just over 25 years, Supreme went from skate shop to billion-dollar acquisition. But what exactly made a brand selling plain t-shirts so valuable? Before we dissect Supreme's business model, we need to understand what made it special in the first place. First, Supreme fundamentally changed how people thought about scarcity in retail. Before Supreme popularized the drop model, fashion releases weren't global events that generated block-long lines. Second, Supreme created a unique business approach to counterculture. Instead of going mainstream as they grew, they maintained their exclusivity and underground appeal. And third, Supreme achieved something rare in fashion. It transcended its original customer base while keeping its core credibility. Skaters, hip-hop artists, high fashion enthusiasts, and collectors all wanted the same box logo. Marketing lesson number 1. Create artificial scarcity in an age of abundance. This is crucial to understand. Supreme doesn't make money by selling as many products as possible. They deliberately produce less than demand, sometimes dramatically less. By 2015, the secondary market for Supreme products was estimated at over $200 million annually. Items that retailed for $38 were reselling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Every Thursday during a season, Supreme releases new products at exactly 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. These drops are limited, unpredictable, and generate enormous amounts of hype. Many analysts question how sustainable this could be, but Jebbia and his team saw something bigger than just selling clothes. Supreme isn't selling t-shirts, they're selling membership in an exclusive club. The product is almost secondary to the experience of getting it. Fashion industry analyst. On paper, this model makes no business sense at all. Deliberately making fewer products than you can sell, keeping your own website difficult to navigate, but Supreme understood something fundamental about human psychology. Marketing lesson number 2, creating cultural currency through exclusivity. Supreme realized that their customers weren't just wearing clothes, they were displaying social statuses. Each box logo signaled that its owner was in the know and had access to something limited. While this drove tremendous success, it also created an unusual problem for a fashion brand. Between 1994 and today, Supreme has collaborated with over 100 brands and artists, from Nike and the North Face to unexpected partners like Oreo cookies and New York's Metropolitan Transportation Authority. The 2017 Louis Vuitton collaboration was particularly significant. It represented high fashion's ultimate embrace of streetwear and cemented Supreme's status beyond skateboarding. Marketing lesson number 3. Cross-pollinating audiences through strategic partnerships. Brand strategist Michael Roberts explains what made these collaborations different. Supreme doesn't just slap logos together, they find authentic connection points between their world and their collaborators. Each partnership feels unexpected, yet somehow inevitable. But this approach came with risks. How could a counterculture brand collaborate with corporate giants without losing its edge? This points to a critical lesson in brand management. Maintaining your identity while expanding your reach requires extraordinary discipline. But with that level of hype and cultural power, another new problem emerged. One Supreme couldn't fully control. While Supreme was building its empire, an unusual problem was growing: counterfeiting on a massive scale. And the counterfeit hotspots were everywhere. Canal Street in New York, Supreme Italia expanding across Europe, counterfeit operations in China, and online replica markets. The problem became so extreme that an entirely fake company, Supreme Italia, began opening retail operations in Europe and China, legally registering the trademark in countries where Supreme hadn't. Warning sign number 1, becoming a victim of your own success. Retail analyst Jennifer Chen explains. Supreme faced a paradox. Their value came from exclusivity and street credibility, but their logo became so desirable that it spawned an entire shadow industry. The more valuable the real thing became, the more incentive there was to fake it. By 2020, Supreme was spending millions fighting trademark battles worldwide. The brand that built itself on being underground was now fighting corporate legal battles to protect its identity. In November of 2020, VF Corporation, the parent company of The North Face, Vans, and Timberland, acquired Supreme for $2.1 billion. Supreme had built its empire on being anti-corporate. Now it was part of one of the biggest corporations in fashion. That contradiction raised an uncomfortable question, and with Supreme's annual revenue being at approximately $500 million, 12 retail locations worldwide, and VF's corporation market cap at over $30 billion, could a brand that was built on rejecting the system still thrive once it became the system? Warning sign number 2, the authenticity paradox. Every counterculture brand eventually faces this dilemma. Grow and risk losing your core identity, or stay small and leave money on the table. Unlike many streetwear brands that expanded rapidly, Supreme has opened just 12 stores in 26 years. Post-acquisition, would this discipline remain? The challenge for VF is deceptively simple. Don't kill the golden goose. Every additional store, every increase in production volume, risks diluting what made Supreme special. Whether VF and Supreme can keep the illusion alive or not, Supreme's future remains uncertain, but its journey from skate shop to billion-dollar empire has already changed the way the world thinks about fashion and marketing. So what can businesses learn from Supreme's extraordinary rise? Here are the 5 key lessons from a brand that broke all the conventional rules of retail. Number 1, scarcity creates value. In an age of infinite choices and availability, deliberately limiting supply can drive tremendous demand. Where could you pull back and make your product harder to get instead of easier? Number 2, experience matters more than convenience. Supreme made buying their products intentionally difficult, and customers love them for it. Do you make your customers work for something in a way that adds meaning, or do you just make it easy? Number 3, authenticity is a strategy, not an accident. Supreme carefully chose when to lean into skate culture and when to expand into luxury. Are you managing your image intentionally, or just hoping people see you as authentic? Number 4, control your narrative. By limiting interviews and traditional marketing, Supreme let their products and cultural presence speak for itself. Are you letting your audience tell your story, or are you flooding them with noise? And finally, number 5, the hype cycle is manageable. Supreme's drop model created sustainable excitement rather than flash-in-the-pan trends. How can you structure your launches or campaigns so excitement builds over time instead of fading out? As it sits, the estimated annual revenue for Supreme is over $500 million, the average markup on the resale market 300 to 500%, and the amount of social media followers over 25 million combined. The irony is that Supreme, a brand built on rejecting corporate America, ultimately became one of its biggest success stories. The question now is whether it can maintain its cultural currency under corporate ownership. Supreme isn't just a clothing brand, it's a masterclass in psychology, scarcity economics, and cultural capital. They didn't just sell t-shirts, they created desire itself. Cultural critic consensus. So the next time you see someone wearing that red box logo or waiting in line for hours for a Thursday drop, remember you're not just witnessing fashion, you're seeing one of the most brilliant marketing strategies ever created. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown of Supreme's rise, make sure to subscribe for more brand breakdowns here on the Philosophy of Marketing. In your opinion, can Supreme maintain its cultural relevance under corporate ownership? And what other counterculture brands might follow its path? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, I put together a free guide called the 5 Hidden Marketing Laws Every Brand Breaks. It's short, sharp, and shows you how to build a brand people actually believe in, not just buy from. You can grab it for free in the link down below. And until next time, remember, in marketing, abundance is forgettable, but scarcity is forever.